Welcome to Desk Geek. Now, I've been holding on, for those that follow me on Twitter, to this review for over a week because I wanted to make sure before I reviewed these headphones that I really broke them in, that I gave them everything I possibly could in order to absorb the full differences in sound and what these headphones deliver. Now, a lot of people may say, well, that's overkill. This is a mid to low end level of headphones. And I disagree, because a lot of these low to mid-level headphones is where new people start. And while you may spend $2, $3, $5, $1,000 on headphones because you've started to see the importance of that, just like myself, I started out with headphones like lesser than these, thinking that, what's really going to be the big difference here? I'm going to go get some, Beats, or get some of those cheap Jam Skull Bones something headphones and put those in my ears and it should be just fine. And then thankfully the audiophile geekdoms came in and swept me up and started introducing me some new headphones. So these type of headphones, these mid to low levels for these big brands that somebody might hear, like Sennheiser, Local, Technica, any of those, these headphones may be their first introduction to a higher end headphone that people are claiming are fantastic or great. And so there's a lot of importance to doing reviews on these type of headphones, and a lot of importance, I think, from these companies to really get people addicted to their headphones, starting from here and then of course moving into their more professional lines. So I did some comparisons between these and the Audio-Technica M40Xs. I know people are going to say you're comparing a closed back to an open back here, which really is kind of a hybrid between an open and a closed. These particular Sennheiser HD518s, which that is partially true, so you have a different sound stage that you have altogether, but they're about the same price. And since these are kind of hybrid backs and they're the only headphones that I have currently that are within the same price range, so they were my best option to really compare the sound against. And I think there is truly a difference between the two, and it's a good difference, and we'll get into that here in a moment. So let's talk about the build and cost of these. These are certainly geared towards budget-minded audiophiles. Like I mentioned, I was able to pick these up for about $50 on sale. And so I really couldn't pass that up. I really wanted to try these at $50. Why not? That's the cost of a movie ticket, really, for my family at least. Almost less than the cost of going to a movie, and you can enjoy these for far longer. Now, they range from $60 to $100 if you're going to pay full price, and they started about retailing around $130 when they first came out. So with regards to the build, you're not going to unbox these and be wowed by the experience. As you can see, everything on here is pretty much plastic, although you do have some nice cloth ear pads here, and you've got a really comfortable cloth cushion on the top. The grills and everything on the side are all plastic. You do have some metallic screws holding the unit together. This does not feel like you could flex it a whole lot. So I feel like if I flex this too much, I could certainly just snap it. So if you have a very big head, or you are very rough on headphones, you may want to look at something a little different, because they're not fragile by any means, but they're certainly not the sturdiest headphones I've ever used. The other thing I'm not happy about is the cord that comes with. The cord's thickness and everything is fine. It's pretty much on par with the M40Xs by Audio-Technica. However, it's not detachable, and the M40Xs is. And that's a big deal, because yanking on cords, kids getting caught and tripping over cords and ripping them out of things is pretty much a norm around my house. And so if a cord breaks, yeah, you can try to repair it yourself, but having that replaceable cord and cable certainly comes in handy in those cases. And in this, you cannot use that replaceable cord. So to me, that is a certain downside. But overall, for the build quality, the plastic is thick. It's certainly they've put enough of it, like I said, that you're just not going to snap this. And if you've got a large head, I've heard folks talking on forums about them being uncomfortable because they're certainly snappy, as you can see. So you're going to get some tightness around your head, but they do break in, and they do get a lot more loose, if you will, the more that you wear these headphones. So all in all, I would probably score these around a 3 for the build quality. Again, the big takeaway here is not having that removable cord. Otherwise, they're pretty much on par with the build quality that you get from any of the other headphones in these range. Now, cloth versus leather, that's a personal preference thing. So when we talk about the comfort of these, I wore these running around chasing kids in my house. I wore these some outside, not doing activities or sports, but just walking outside. And the cloth for me was a little more irritating than I found the leather on headphones to be at times. But that is very, very much a personal preference. So if you're not sure if you want the leather or the cloth on the pair of headphones that you buy, you might want to try both, and certainly do something that makes you sweat a little bit, because that's where the irritation can come from. But as far as long listening, I've listened to entire albums on this. I listened to a very wide variety of music. I played gaming sessions on them, and they were very comfortable for all those long hauls. So I feel like with the nice padding that they put on the top and on the earmuffs themselves, that they did a really good job on making these comfortable. But you're probably not here for all of that. You want to know about the sound, because what's more important than the sound? As I mentioned earlier, Sennheiser spent their money here, not on the aesthetics, but on the inside of these headphones, which is exactly what I would want them to do for headphones in this price range. I don't really care what the outside looks like. I want to know, I want to hear good sound. I want you to spend all the money that you can on the speakers inside. So the sound has an airiness to it, but I would say it falls in between a closed and open back headphone. So you're going to get some of that outside noise kind of coming in, which some people really like in their music. It makes it feel like you're not closed off from the world, and those that want the closed off, you're probably going to want the closed back style headphones, more like the Audio Technica has. But in this case, you get that more airy sound coming in. So it's open and full, but not enough that you can't, or it's not closed down enough that you're not going to be able to hear your kids or somebody talking to you. It may be a little muffled, but you still can hear some outside interference. So the bass is very, very pronounced. And in fact, if you look on their box here, one of the things that they mention, there you go, deep, rich bass sound. So they certainly tout that, the bass, and you will feel the bass. It is very bassy, but it is not like Beats bassy. It is not an uncomfortable bass that's popping in your ear and you're only going to be able to listen for, 20-30 minutes before you get fatigued. It's a very high quality bass. It's pronounced, it's there, you're going to feel it, and you'll probably notice it over any of the others, the mids or the highs, right away. The bass is very rich. So they spent their time on that, which there's no problem, because a lot of music can use that. The mids, on the other hand, it has a very nice sound stage to the mids, but they came across to me, and this differs from a lot of people's opinion that I've read, and I would say the opinions vary depending on which audiophile and forum and reviews that you read, but for me, the mids were kind of muffled, and some people said the mids they thought were fantastic, and that just shows you how a lot of this really is personal preference. But I found the mids weren't as clean as I would like, or as clean as, say, I got from the Audio Technicas, and maybe that's because the highs are probably the worst part. So the mids, kind of muddy, if you will, but good. You're going to get every sound you need, but the highs are very overwhelmed by the mids and the bass, so much so that you're not getting that full experience that sometimes that you want out of it. But certainly it's not terrible to listen to, and I don't want you to think it's distracting or bad when I use words like muddy or something like that. It's just compared to other headphones, that's the experience that I had with it. You may feel completely different, and a lot of people who listen to these do. And for the price, my God, why not go out and give them a try anyways? So outside of that, I'll tell you that you can still hear the vocalists almost mouth moving or breathing, so you can still hear those high quality sounds in there. You can still hear the various instruments. You're going to get that fantastic sound that you want out of these. You might have to listen a little closer than a very high-end set of headphones, but it's there and you can pick it up. So from that aspect, I was very, very happy with them. I did have a friend over as well, and this was during when I got these and I was breaking in the headphones, and I had him try the Audio Technica M40x's and also these, and of course he preferred the Audio-Technica M40Xs, but they certainly were close, and he thought both of them had amazing sound. And I think a lot of the difference is going to be what you're listening to. I find these more comfortable, and strangely, I really find myself attracted to listening to these headphones a lot. I have a lot of headphones I'm starting to collect here, and some that are far more expensive, but I found myself continuing to want to listen to these, especially with rock and metal music. There was something about them where the mids and the airiness and the bass just came together and melded perfectly for that style of music, in my opinion. So if that's the kind of music that you listen to, you will really like these. And anyone who's gamed on these headphones really likes these as well. So the gaming sounds and profile are the profile or sound stage of these headphones is very good for gaming environments. So this would be a perfect pair of headphones if you're starting streaming or something along those lines, and you want to get good sound out of headphones but not spend a ton of money. Instead of wasting your money, say, on some razors or something like that, get a pair of these, get a secondary condenser mic, USB mic or something to plug in for about the same price, and you're going to be good to go, because you can get these for pretty cheap if you hunt them out. So overall, I'm going to give these a 3.5 out of 5. I think they're certainly deserving of the cost. They're fun to have in your collection. You're going to find yourself wanting to go back to them and experiment and play with these headphones. So I think Sennheiser did a fantastic job on them. And if a new person picked this up and this is their first pair of Sennheiser headphones, I fully believe that they would be thinking, wow, now I want to try one of their higher ends and see if I can get even more sound out of it. I will tell you that these sound pronouncedly better if you have an amp hooked up to them. So if you have an amplifier, either a portable or a desktop amplifier, you're going to get way more sound out of that, and that's because the impedance here is at about 50 ohms. So over really what the threshold for cell phones and portable devices generally will give you. Now with that said, you can still push these with plenty good sound through your phone, but you're not going to get the full experience out of these unless you hook up an amp. Very similar to the Audio-Technicas, definitely the exact same way. And so just to talk about the technical specs, you got a frequency response of 14 to 26,000 hertz. You have total harmonic distortion of less than 0.2%. Sound pressure level at 108 decibels, and of course that impedance at 50 ohms. So overall, really solid showing from Sennheiser for an entry-level pair of headphones. I really like these things. They're going to stay in my collection. And now my biggest problem is I need to find a headphone holder, one that can hold all these headphones I'm collecting, because unlike most of the stuff, I'm not selling these, I'm keeping them, because depending on what music I'm listening to, it just creates a completely different experience, and I'm really enjoying it. So for all my audiophiles out there, I look forward to hearing your comments. You guys know so much about this stuff, and as you know, I'm new into getting into the music stage as deeply as I have and investing my money in it. So I love to get your feedback, get your opinion, tell me things to check out and look for. And the audiophile community is really awesome. They help so many people, if you read the forums out there, get into good pairs of headphones and learn the ins and outs of music. And I definitely love them for geeking out on that. As always, fill your brains. I'll talk to you next time.
Don't get subscribed. Does not like the video.